Imagine making a trade just to get rid of a mistake and accidentally building a dynasty. In 2009, the New York Rangers were desperate. They had signed Scott Gomez to a massive contract that was dragging the franchise down. They needed a miracle to get that money off the books. They found a willing partner in the Montreal Canadiens, who were desperate for a number one center. The trade was supposed to be a salary dump, but buried in the fine print was a prospect the Canadiens didn't really want to give up, but felt they had to. A kid from the University of Wisconsin named Ryan McDonagh. What looked like a simple cap space move turned into one of the most lopsided steals of the modern era. This is the story of how the Montreal Canadiens paid the New York Rangers to take their future captain. Welcome to the Scott Gomez trade tree. To understand this trade, you have to understand the desperation. In the summer of 2007, the Rangers signed Scott Gomez to a 7-year, $51.5 million contract. For the first year, it was okay. But by 2009, Gomez's production was dipping, and his cap hit was paralyzing the team. General manager Glenn Sather needed an escape hatch. Meanwhile, in Montreal, GM Bob Gainey was under immense pressure to make a splash for the team's centennial season. He needed a star. He needed a center, and he was willing to pay a premium. So, on June 30th, 2009, just before free agency opened, the call was made. Montreal receives Scott Gomez, Tom Pyatt, and Mike Busto, while New York receives Chris Higgins, Doug Janik, Pavel Valentenko, and the rights to Ryan McDonagh. At the time, the headline was Gomez to Montreal. The hockey world focused on the money. Nobody realized that the throw-in prospect was about to change the balance of power in the Eastern Conference for a decade. Let's start with the Montreal side, because it is painful. Scott Gomez arrives in Montreal with huge expectations. In his first season, he's actually decent, 59 points. But then, the wheels fall off. In 2010-11, he scores just 7 goals. In 2011-12, he plays 38 games and scores 2 goals. It gets so bad that a website is created just to track how long it's been since Gomez scored. He eventually goes over a full calendar year without a goal. The Canadiens eventually buy him out in 2013, paying him to literally go away. The other pieces? Tom Pyatt becomes a serviceable depth grinder, 101 games, 12 points, before leaving for Tampa in 2011. And Mike Busto never plays an NHL game. Montreal swung for the fences, struck out, and the bat flew into the stands and hit a fan. But the real pain isn't what they got, it's what they gave up. The Rangers got Chris Higgins, who played 55 games before being flipped to Calgary with Alice Kotelik for Olli Jokinen and Brandon Prust. Jokinen plays 26 games, then re-signs with Calgary in 2010. Brandon Prust plays 190 games over 3 seasons before signing with Montreal in 2012. Doug Janik and Pavel Valentenko never play a game for the Rangers, but the jewel was Ryan McDonagh. The Rangers sign him out of college, and he debuts in 2011. He immediately becomes a shutdown machine. He becomes the Rangers' captain. He leads them to the 2014 Stanley Cup Final, ironically, beating Montreal in the Eastern Conference Final. Think about that. The player Montreal traded away to get a center shuts down Montreal to end their cup dreams. McDonagh plays 516 games for New York, putting up 238 points and being the backbone of their defense. But the tree doesn't end there. Because on February 26, 2018, the Rangers decide to rebuild, and they trade captain McDonagh. The Rangers send Ryan McDonagh and JT Miller to the Tampa Bay Lightning for Vladislav Namestnikov, Brett Howden, Libor Hayek, a 2018 first-round pick, and a 2019 second-round pick. This trade essentially helps build the Tampa Bay Lightning dynasty. McDonagh wins 2 Stanley Cups in Tampa as their premier shutdown defender. Wait, stop. Did you realize that the Scott Gomez trade directly contributed to the Tampa Bay Lightning winning back-to-back Stanley Cups in 2020 and 2021? Most people think this trade is just Rangers win, Habs lose. No, this trade altered the history of 3 franchises. If you love connecting these invisible dots, you need to subscribe to Puck Pulse right now. We do this every week. Hit the button. Let's finish the tree. So, let's track every single asset from the McDonagh trade, because the Rangers turned this one deal into an entire ecosystem of moves. First, Vladislav Namestnikov. He gives the Rangers 3 solid seasons before being flipped to Ottawa for a minor leaguer named Nick Ebert and a 2021 4th-round pick. Nick Ebert never plays an NHL game for New York, but the Rangers use that 4th-round pick to select Kalle Väisänen, 106th overall. He is still in the system, currently grinding away in the organization. Next is Brett Howden. He struggles to find his game in New York, so they trade him to Vegas for Nick DeSimone and a 2022 4th-round pick. Nick DeSimone leaves for Calgary almost immediately via free agency. But that 4th-round pick becomes the key here. The Rangers use it to select Noah Laba, 111th overall. Laba is a genuine success story. He's currently suiting up for the Rangers here in 2026. So, the Scott Gomez trade is technically still putting a player on the ice at Madison Square Garden today. Libor Hajek is the quietest branch. He plays 110 games over 5 seasons as a depth defender before eventually leaving the organization. The Rangers also got a 2019 second-round pick. They used it to select Carl Henriksson, 58th overall, but he never cracks the NHL lineup. Now for the main event, the 2018 first-round pick. The Rangers used this pick to select Nils Lundqvist, 28th overall. This looks like a home run, but Lundqvist refuses to sign long-term and requests a trade in January 2022. So, the Rangers flip him to the Dallas Stars for 2 assets, a 2023 first-round pick and a conditional 2025 4th-round pick. Let's follow the 4th-rounder first. The Rangers take that conditional 4th, package it with a 2024 second-round pick, and send it to the Seattle Kraken to acquire Alexander Wennberg. Wennberg plays 19 regular season games and 16 playoff games for the Rangers before signing with San Jose in the summer of 2024. And finally, the 2023 first-round pick. The Rangers package this pick alongside Hunter Skinner, Sammy Blais, and a conditional 2024 third-round pick. They send this massive package to St. Louis to acquire Vladimir Tarasenko and Nico Mikola. The plan was to win the 2023 Stanley Cup. The reality? They lose in the first round to New Jersey in 7 games. Tarasenko walks in free agency to Ottawa, and Nico Mikola walks in free agency to Florida. So, when you look at the full picture, the massive value of Ryan McDonagh turned into a few seasons of Namestnikov and Howden, a rental of Wennberg, a rental of Tarasenko, and 2 active prospects in Noah Laba and Kalle Väisänen. It's a lot of movement, but ultimately, the contender potential of the tree ended when the Rangers pushed their chips into the middle for that 2023 run. So, here is the final verdict. Montreal traded their best defensive prospect for a declining asset that they bought out 3 years later. It is a disaster. The Rangers cleared cap space, got their captain for a decade, a trip to the Cup final, and assets that turned into prospects still in their organization. It is rare to see a trade where the team dumping the bad contract also gets the best player, but that's exactly what happened. Glenn Sather didn't just escape salary cap hell, he robbed the bank on his way out. What do you think? Was trading McDonagh the worst move in Bob Gainey's career? Or was he just trying to save his job? Let me know in the comments. Next week, we are going deep on the Dale Hawerchuk trade tree. Make sure you're subscribed. This is Puck Pulse. Thanks for watching.